Squeeze me. Successful Indie Author 5-Minute Focus, episode 419, Smoothing or Polishing. There's Stanley. He was a little anxious earlier because the neighbor dog is barking. And they're on the other side of the horse pasture, but this dog is a Bernese mountain dog, about 200 pounds. So when he barks, the whole world hears it. And he's been barking all night, so there must be a moose up there or something. Alrighty then. Smoothing, polishing. This is taking your manuscript from good to great. And, you know what? Here's the secret. You can do it in your first draft, and then you make it great from the outset. So you make sure that your plots and subplots are resolved. Close those threads or leave them open in a way that isn't just hanging something out there, like a total cliffhanger, unintended, where it's just out there and you're like, what happened to this? This person ran off to go get something and never showed up again in the story. Yeah, close those loops. Make sure those are resolved enough. And the Redundancy Department. So when you see things like raising her hands upward, where else would she raise her hands? So raising her hands. A lot of editing is removing words, extra words that you don't need. Okay, raise her hand. Now raise her hand straight up like she's surrendering. That's something completely different. That's you're trying to create this visual. That's okay, but just raising her hands upward, that upward adds no extra value, and it becomes clumsy to read. When you read it, raise your hands, get called on, answer the question. Simple enough. Quick, high-impact words. And yes, I write pulp. I always tell people I write pulp fiction. However, I try to make it as clean and smooth as I can, and a quick read, a very quick read. And this is a secret to success. I try to make my books readable in one sitting. I don't want to ever give a reader a chance to put the book down because they may not come back to it, because this is the world of today. You get distracted in a hurry. Don't put my book down. Read it to the end and be happy. Minimum words for maximum impact. And deliver your vision. And as few or as many words as it takes. Make sure that in Redundancy Department, if you've described the curtains as blue, don't go back in and then say the blue curtains. Because if you're going to say the blue curtains, then you don't need to describe them as blue. Just look for that. And this is something to help keep that prose straight and moving forward. Keep the story moving forward. Keep the reader reading. But if you use the word blue 3 times in one paragraph regarding curtains, you may be overdoing it. Just double check yourself. Crutch words, kill them dead. A lot of times, just few. One of my first crutch words was couple. A couple of this, couple of that, because it was indeterminate. I didn't care. It was just something, I was just throwing something out there. And one of the readers caught it and said, you say a couple a lot. So I did a word count 200 times in a 100,000 word book. Okay, it may not seem that much, but 200 times. It was almost on every single page. So I cut it down to like 50 after the book had published, and went forward. And I checked my last book 4 times in 60,000 words. So good. Just, few, seriously, really. These are crutch words that we use when we speak. However, when you put them in writing, they lose their power. So it's just an extra word out there. Find your crutch words. You will use them a lot, so they'll be easy to find. And kill them. Kill them dead. Because usually they add no value. Really, seriously, no value. Make sure you get that right. Beating poor dead horses. When you've made a point, move on. If you keep beating that dead horse, now you're giving readers a chance and an opportunity to stop reading. Don't do that. Make your point and move on. Now, you could reinforce the point with additional points and then keep going, but it's got to keep the story moving forward. This is what smoothing is all about, making it the epitome of reading, or epitome, as I used to say, until I actually heard somebody pronounce it. So epitome of reading, in that they read, it's smooth, they keep flowing all the way, start to finish, and there's no reason for them to skip anything. Now, sometimes I talk about other things, and people skip that, and they tell me, hey, I had to skip this because it was a bunch of legalese. It's a space lawyer. There's going to be legalese. But I keep it to a minimum. And I keep the Latin to a minimum, too. But I'm a lawyer. Of course I'm going to throw Latin in there. I apologize in advance for that. But I try not to overdo it. All right. Smoothing, polishing, take that story from good to great. Take a look. Listen to your editor. Your editor will see a lot of this stuff. Listen to them, and then do better next time. Give your editor the opportunity to find deeper things within your story, even if it's just a line or copy edit. If they're not fixing every sentence or making 100 fixes on a page, then they can see other things that might affect your flow, that might affect your story, and then they can go deeper for you. But if they're checking and making corrections every sentence, then they don't get that deep view of the story. So give them the opportunity to help you at a deeper, more impactful level. All right, fix your stuff in the draft phase, and you'll be better for it. Peace, fellow humans. And here's Stanley again.